For a more in-depth look at Texas elections, we're joined by political analyst and publisher of the Quorum Report, Harvey Kronberg. Harvey, welcome back.
Always good to be here, James.
So how do you see this race in Texas 23 unfolding now that Tony Gonzalez has resigned? Does it make political sense for the governor to call a special election, or should he keep the seat open till November?
Well, the margin in Congress just got a lot thinner for the majority for Mike Johnson because a new United States congressman was elected, I think, out of Idaho. That's a Democrat, so the margin shrinks. I think it would be dangerous to call a special election. I think it's dangerous for Republicans right now anyway. That's a lean Republican district, probably only about 53% Republican. And considering how poorly the Republicans are doing in pretty much every kind of poll that's out there, even a no-name Democrat from Uvalde, which is the case here, would have an advantage, I think.
But according to redistricting, this was still a Trump plus 15 district. Are Democrats getting overhyped in this race?
Oh, it's entirely possible, but the district is more San Antonio-centric than anything else. Neither one of the two candidates comes from San Antonio, and I do believe Brendan Herrera, the Republican, can be, if there's any money spent at all in this race, and there would be, can be painted as out of the mainstream at a time when Republicans are battling to try to get back into the mainstream.
And of course, Katie Padilla's stout outraised Brandon Herrera, the Republican, by 4 times since the March 3rd primary. So that, I think, indicates that maybe Democrats are saying we should give this race a real serious look.
There's an appetite there, which typically those kinds of districts that reached El Paso through West Texas are winnable by moderate Republicans. They're not winnable by extreme Republicans. At least that's what history has said, and there's good reason to suspect that would be the case going forward.
And Herrera has been pegged as much further to the right than Tony Gonzalez was. Harvey,
swastikas and
there's been criticisms,
AK-47s.
Right.
Yes.
Last week, Ken Paxton told our Aaron Davis that he's willing to debate John Cornyn, and John Cornyn has said the same thing earlier this year. So we're 1 month out. Why hasn't a debate been announced?
Frankly, I think both sides say they're willing to debate, but I don't think neither really is. Paxton is the front runner by all metrics right now. Front runners don't typically want to debate. It's going to be a sordid kind of affair with reviving ethical and moral scandals on Paxton's side, and then calling out Cornyn for being supposedly weak on MAGA.
But why wouldn't Cornyn go even harder in pushing him to do a debate and call him a chicken when he says no?
Well, there is something to be said for that, but debates are wild cards, and I'm presuming that the Cornyn team thinks that. Well, let me put it this way. There's a belief out there that Karl Rove, who's helping Cornyn, has some of the best Republican lists out there, and that they're going to be able to reach out and touch people who didn't vote in the primary to turn out in the runoff.
Well, and they showed that in the primary when he beat them by 1 point.
Right.
A new poll last week shows Paxton with an 8-point lead over Cornyn. That's after Cornyn had released an internal poll that he was 1 point up in the race. Do you expect these numbers, this 8-point lead, to hold? And if it doesn't, what's going to change the needle or move the needle?
Well, of course, this is an election that's going to be held over Memorial Day weekend for all practical purposes, so anybody can guess. But what was more significant about that poll, frankly, was that it also showed that Cornyn voters, only I think it was 25 or 30% of Cornyn voters would not vote for Paxton. They would consider voting for Tallarico in the general election, which goes to say that even though it looks like that Paxton's a front runner, he looks even more weak going into a general election.
That goes to this question of disunity among Republicans that Republicans have been talking about. Even Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has said that. Last week, Paxton also told our Aaron Davis that he would support John Cornyn. Cornyn has said the same, but not as in strong terms. Get into that. I mean, is there a real risk about Republican unity in November, Harvey?
Well, this is, absolutely there is. I'm not sure MAGA is going to forgive Cornyn, and I'm not sure Cornyn establishment voters could bring themselves to vote for Paxton, no matter what the candidates say. Right now, we're kind of in, from the Paxton side, we're into purity tests, support for Donald Trump. Establishment Republicans just want to see some return to normalcy, and they don't see that as Paxton, a path with Paxton.
So it really is on both sides, I think, that hesitation. Harvey Kronberg, great to have you in the studio.
Thanks again.